Diamond.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for joining our interview today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
If there were 3 words that you can describe about yourself, like what would they be and why?
Yeah, great question. I would choose honesty, perceptive, and probably imaginative. So the reason why I choose these 3 words, honesty for me has been taught to me from childhood all the way through my adult life, all the way to now. And I feel like being honest has been such an important part of my life. I learned from a young age that it is really difficult to juggle lies. And that's not to say that I've never lied in my life, I'll be honest about that. But I did experience firsthand that when you start to tell these little white lies here and these little white lies there, that it gets really difficult. You get really stressed out. You have a lot of anxiety. And for me, I find that just living an honest lifestyle has been the best thing for me. For my second word, imaginative, I would say that my imagination is really my safe and creative space for me. I find myself zoning off thinking about the most bizarre ideas. At one point, I was imagining my life out on the ocean, building a barge from all of the plastic waste, and then trying to figure out how I could survive. What plants should I get? Can I use algae? Would I be able to fish? It was really crazy. So I'm very imaginative, not just scenarios like that, but in my day-to-day life as well. And then lastly, I'd say I'm fairly perceptive. You could call it woman's intuition, or you can call it your gut feeling, whatever it is, the little voice in the back of your mind. I tend to listen to that voice pretty often. I find that, I don't know what it is about my mind, but I tend to pick up social cues and environmental cues fairly easily. And so when the little voice in my mind is getting louder and louder and louder and saying, hey, look at this, pay attention to this, I tend to listen to it and really examine what I know. And I think it's important for other people to know that that little voice sometimes has something important to tell you.
Of the 3 words that you use to describe yourself, how do you think those traits about you have helped you through challenges and made you who you are today?
Definitely honesty. Honesty has played a huge part in my life. Honesty just emanates from within in all people. And you can really tell when someone's being honest, whether they're telling you a story or they're giving you information or they're sharing a secret about themselves. And that honesty really brings people together. And then I would also say that imagination has pushed me forward. I'm very into the beauty community. I love doing makeup. I love artistry. I love colors and blending and everything that makeup can do for your canvas, which is your skin. And from that, I'm also really into skincare too. And lastly, I think the perception has led me to be here. I mean, I was really nervous about being a part of the pageant, but the little voice in the back of my head said, hey, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're really not going to have this opportunity again. So you should do it. You should grow. You should learn from this. And I said, you know what, little voice, you're right.
You also touched upon your, interests and hobbies for makeup, beauty, skincare, and art. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how you got into it and what inspires you to really develop yourself in that field?
I have a whole life story about it, actually. So it all starts back to when I was about 8 years old. And my older sister, she's 10 years older than me, she was actually going into esthetician school at the time. And she needed someone to practice on for her finals. So, facials, cheek waxing, practicing eyebrow trimming, all the works. So when I was 8, having her come home and saying, Diamond, let me practice on you. To me, that was like Christmas morning because my big sister is my biggest role model. So she was doing skin stuff on me, skincare, self-care, practicing talking about what each item did. And from there, I really developed a passion for skincare because I always associated it as bonding with my sister. By the time I was 14, going into high school, I had a morning and nighttime skincare routine down. And my friends would even reach out to me and sort of ask me, oh, what should I get? What should I do? And I'd be like, oh, let me tell you. And then that's just sort of followed me through life. I always use skincare as a way of comforting myself, easing my nerves, feeling good, sharing, educating others. It always revolves around skincare and thus into the beauty industry, because your canvas, your skin, is so important to makeup artistry. You know, you have a nice smooth canvas, it goes well. If you don't have a smooth canvas, what can you do to create a smooth canvas, or how can you work with the canvas you have? So definitely my sister was my biggest inspiration for getting into this whole beauty industry world.
In your perception, I guess, what's your definition of beauty? And you also mentioned, you know, that your face is kind of like your canvas. How do you think that beauty of the physicalness and also the inner beauty translates to the world and how people perceive you?
Yeah, so my definition of beauty is actually whatever you're most comfortable with, because my definition of beauty will be different from your definition. It's definitely different from my sister's. It's definitely different from my partner's. So I think that the real definition of beauty is what you're most comfortable in and what you feel most beautiful in. So if you feel beautiful barefaced, then you're beautiful. If you feel beautiful with a full face, beautiful, colorful, full eyelashes, then you're beautiful. If you just feel beautiful with a sunscreen nose, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you feel most comfortable in. And my definition of beauty is very flexible, because we change day to day. Some days I'm feeling up, some days I'm feeling down, some days I'm feeling neutral, you know? So it's really whatever you're most comfortable in.
We really appreciate the time that you spent with us and learning more about you and seeing how you view the world. So we're really excited for you too. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.